Dr. Velox had worked as a veterinary specialist on the space station Harmony's Rest for more than 40 years. He had 6 limbs, blue skin that changed colors with his mood, and 2 hearts that beat inside his chest. In his long career, he had treated animals from hundreds of different planets. He had seen creatures with 10 legs, beasts that breathed fire, and animals made entirely of living crystal. He thought nothing in the universe could surprise him anymore. He was very wrong. The human cargo ship Amber Dawn arrived at the station on a quiet morning. Velox was drinking his morning nutrient shake when the docking alert sounded. He did not think much of it. Human ships came and went all the time these days. Humans were new to space travel. They had only joined the Galactic Union about 15 years ago. Most aliens found them strange but harmless. They were soft, slow, and lived on a small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy. Velox finished his drink and walked to the decontamination corridor. It was his job to check all animals that came onto the station. He had to make sure they carried no diseases and posed no danger to the other species living there. The airlock doors opened with a hiss. 3 humans walked through. 2 males and 1 female. They wore simple gray jumpsuits with the name of their ship printed on the chest. They looked tired from their journey, but smiled politely at Velox. Then Velox saw the creature. His skin turned bright orange, which meant fear. His 2 hearts began to beat very fast. Walking beside the human female was an animal the size of a large dog. It had jet black fur that seemed to absorb the light around it. 6 red eyes glowed on its face. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth, and its claws clicked against the metal floor as it walked. Velox knew exactly what it was. Every being in the Galactic Union knew what it was. A Kovathi shadowhound. Velox held up all 6 of his arms and blocked the corridor. His voice came out high and shaky. "Stop. Human, stop right there. Do not move." The human female stopped walking. She had brown hair tied back in a ponytail and kind brown eyes. She looked confused by his reaction. "Is something wrong?" Velox pointed at the shadowhound with a trembling limb. "Do you understand what creature you have with you? Do you know what that thing is?" The woman looked down at the animal. The beast looked up at her and wagged its tail. "You mean Max? He is our ship mascot. We found him as a baby on a trading post 2 years ago." Velox could not believe what he was hearing. His translator must be broken. That was the only explanation. That is a Kovathi shadowhound. It is a Class 7 apex predator, the most dangerous animal in this sector of space. One of the human males stepped forward. He was tall with black hair and a friendly face. His name tag said David. Apex predator? Max? He sleeps in Emily's bed every night. Velox felt like he might faint. Their bite carries a neurotoxin. It is poison. 1 bite kills any living being within minutes. No species in the entire Galactic Union has ever survived an attack from a shadowhound. The station's security alarm began to sound. Within moments, a squad of Grellian security officers came running down the corridor. Grellians were large beings covered in thick armor-like skin. They carried plasma rifles and wore heavy protective gear. When they saw the shadowhound, they raised their weapons immediately. Deadly creature detected. The security captain shouted, "Everyone get back. We will eliminate the threat." Emily stepped in front of Max. Her eyes became hard and serious. "Nobody is touching my dog." David moved to stand beside her. "We are not going to let you hurt him." The 3rd human, a woman with red hair named Rachel, crossed her arms. She was the captain of their ship. "That animal is our property and a member of our crew. Point your gun somewhere else." Velox watched this scene with complete shock. 3 soft, small humans were standing between armed security officers and a creature that could kill them all in seconds. They were protecting the monster. They were treating it like family. Please, Velox said, trying to stay calm. You do not understand. This creature has killed 312 documented sapient beings across Union space. It is supposed to be destroyed wherever it is found. That is the law. Emily did not move. Then your law is wrong. Max has never hurt anyone who did not try to hurt us first. The security captain kept his weapon raised. The beast must be eliminated. Step aside, humans. Max growled low in his throat. The sound made everyone except the humans take a step back. Those red eyes scanned the security team with cold intelligence. Velox realized the creature was deciding which target to attack first. Wait, Velox said suddenly. He was a scientist. He was curious despite his fear. Something about this situation did not make sense. How were these humans still alive? Human female. Emily, how long did you say you have owned this creature? About 2 years, Emily answered. She put her hand on Max's head and the growling stopped. The deadly beast leaned into her touch like a pet asking for affection. 2 years, Velox repeated. And in that time, it has never bitten you? Never attacked you at all? David laughed. It was a genuine, relaxed laugh. Oh no, Max bit Emily plenty of times when he was a puppy. He was very wild back then. Took months to train him properly. The security captain made a choking sound. Several of his officers lowered their weapons in confusion. Velox stepped closer, his scientific curiosity now stronger than his fear. You were bitten? By a shadowhound? Multiple times? Emily shrugged like it was nothing important. She rolled up the sleeve of her jumpsuit. On her forearm was a small pale scar. The skin around it was slightly pink. Got this one just last week, actually. Max got too excited during feeding time and nipped me by accident. The corridor went completely silent. Velox stared at the scar. It was clearly a bite mark. It was clearly fresh. And the human was clearly alive and healthy. That is impossible, he whispered. Emily looked at him with a small smile. It hurt pretty bad. I put some medicine on it and wrapped it in a bandage. It was mostly healed after a few days. Velox turned to the security captain. Lower your weapons. I need to examine this human immediately. Something very strange is happening here, and I intend to find out what. The security officers did not want to lower their weapons. They had been trained their whole lives to fear shadowhounds. Stories about these creatures were told to children to scare them into behaving. A shadowhound was not just an animal. It was death with 6 eyes and black fur. But Dr. Velox was the chief medical officer on the station. His word carried weight. After several minutes of argument, the security captain finally agreed to let the humans pass. However, he insisted that his team would follow at a safe distance. If that creature makes one move, the captain warned, we will shoot it. Emily looked at him with cold eyes. If you shoot my dog, you will wish the shadowhound got you first. The captain did not know what to say to that. No alien had ever threatened him before, especially not over a monster that could kill them all. Velox led the humans and their pet to the medical bay. It was a large white room filled with advanced equipment. Scanners hung from the ceiling. Beds lined the walls. Screens displayed medical data in dozens of different languages. Velox had examined thousands of patients in this room. He had never been so nervous. Max walked calmly beside Emily. His claws made soft clicking sounds on the clean floor. He sniffed at the medical equipment with curiosity. When a small cleaning robot rolled past, he watched it go with his head tilted to one side. He looked almost cute. Velox reminded himself that this adorable scene was happening with one of the deadliest predators in the known universe. Please, sit on the examination bed, Velox told. Emily. He turned on his communication device and connected. to the Union Medical Council. Within seconds, the faces of 12 senior doctors from different species appeared on the screens around the room. They were the best medical minds in the galaxy. "Colleagues," Velox announced, "I am about to examine a human who claims to have survived multiple bites from a Corvasi shadowhound. I'm transmitting my findings in real time." A Morathian doctor on the screen leaned forward. He had gray skin and 4 eyes. "Survived a shadowhound bite? That must be a translation error. No species survives their venom." "That is what I thought as well," Velox replied. "But look at this." He aimed his scanner at Emily's arm. The image appeared on all the screens. It showed the scar tissue clearly. The pattern of the wound was unmistakable. It was definitely a shadowhound bite. "Run a blood analysis," another doctor suggested. "Check for traces of the neurotoxin." Velox took a small sample of Emily's blood. The machine hummed as it processed the sample. Everyone waited in tense silence. Max lay down on the floor and yawned, showing all 3 rows of his venomous fangs. David sat in a corner, looking bored. Rachel stood by the door, watching everything with sharp eyes. The results appeared on the screen. Velox read them 3 times because he did not believe them. "This cannot be right," he said. "What does it say?" Emily asked. She did not seem worried at all. Velox turned to face the screens where the other doctors were watching. "The neurotoxin is present in her bloodstream. Not just traces. Significant amounts. She was definitely bitten by a shadowhound, and the venom definitely entered her body. Then how is she alive?" the Morathian doctor demanded. Velox pointed to another section of the results. "Because her body created antibodies. Her immune system identified the toxin as a threat and built a defense against it. Not only did it neutralize the poison, but it also seems to have adapted to it. Her blood now contains a natural antidote." The medical council erupted in confused chatter. Doctors talked over each other. Some called the results impossible. Others demanded more tests. A few accused Velox of making a mistake. David stood up and walked over to the examination bed. "Is this really that surprising? Humans get bitten by venomous stuff all the time back home. Snakes, spiders, jellyfish. Our bodies usually figure it out." Velox stared at him. "Your planet has venomous creatures? Multiple kinds?" "Oh yeah, tons of them. Some can kill you in minutes. Others just make you really sick. We have special medicines for the bad ones, but most people survive if they get help fast enough." A Grellian doctor on the screen spoke in a quiet voice. "What kind of world do you come from?" Rachel smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Earth, nice place. Beautiful oceans. Lovely forests. Everything there has been trying to kill us since before we learned to walk upright." Velox felt his skin change to a pale shade of purple, which meant deep worry. He ran more tests. He checked Emily's cellular structure. He analyzed her genetic code. He studied the way her body healed from wounds. The more he learned, the more disturbed he became. Human cells regenerate at a remarkable rate, he reported to the council. Wounds that would permanently disable other species heal completely within weeks for them. Their immune systems do not just fight diseases. They learn from them. They remember every threat and prepare for it to come again. Emily hopped off the examination bed. "Are we done here? Max needs his dinner soon, and he gets grumpy when he is hungry." Velox looked at her. This small, soft creature who should be dead many times over. She was worried about feeding her pet monster. "One more question," he said. "The first time Max bit you, what did you do?" Emily thought about it for a moment. "Well, it hurt a lot. I got dizzy and felt sick for a few hours. David gave me some pain medicine and I slept it off. The next morning I felt better. A bit weak, but okay." "You felt sick for a few hours," Velox repeated slowly. from a shadowhound bite. A bite that kills other species in minutes. Yeah, Emily shrugged. I have had worse reactions to shellfish, honestly. The medical council went silent. Velox did not know what shellfish was, but he was too afraid to ask. David put his arm around Emily's shoulders. Come on, let us go feed Max before he decides to find his own dinner. They walked out of the medical bay. The deadly shadowhound followed them, its tail wagging happily. The security team that had been waiting outside pressed themselves against the walls to let them pass. Velox sat down heavily on the examination bed. His two hearts were beating too fast. His skin could not decide what color to be. Colleagues, he said to the doctors still watching on the screens, I think we need to reconsider everything we know about humans. The news spread across the medical community faster than light could travel between stars. Within 2 days, Dr. Velox received messages from over 300 scientists. They all wanted to know more about the humans who could survive shadowhound venom. Some did not believe it was true. Others demanded to see the evidence themselves. A few were already writing research papers about the discovery. Velox asked the crew of the Amber Dawn to stay at the station for a few more days. He wanted to run additional tests. Captain Rachel agreed, but only because Velox promised that no one would try to hurt Max. The examination room became very crowded. Scientists from 12 different species arrived to observe. They stood behind a protective barrier, watching as Velox continued his research. Max lay in the corner, sleeping peacefully while the greatest minds in the galaxy studied his owner. Emily was patient through all the tests. She gave blood samples, saliva samples, and even let them scan her brain. David sat beside her and made jokes to keep her spirits up. He was good at making people laugh, even when the situation was strange. So, David said to the watching scientists, is Emily special, or are all humans like this? Velox looked up from his scanner. That is exactly what we are trying to find out. Would you be willing to let us test you as well? David shrugged. Sure, why not? I have never been bitten by Max, though. That is fine. We want to compare baseline human biology. Over the next several hours, Velox and his team examined David thoroughly. They also tested Captain Rachel. The results were consistent across all 3 humans. Their bodies were remarkably similar in their ability to adapt and survive. A young Morathian scientist named Tala was reviewing the genetic data. She suddenly made a sharp sound of surprise. Dr. Velox, look at this. Their genetic code shows evidence of surviving numerous extinction events. Extinction events? Velox walked over to look at her screen. How many? At least 5 major ones. Their species has been nearly wiped out multiple times throughout their history. Each time, the survivors passed on their adaptations to the next generation. Rachel nodded. Yeah, Earth is at a rough few billion years. Meteor strikes, ice ages, supervolcanoes. The planet really tried to kill everything living on it. A Grellian scientist spoke through the communication system. And your species survived all of these events? While living on the same planet? We are stubborn, Rachel said simply. Velox continued to review the data. The more he learned, the more amazed he became. Human bodies were not specialized for any single environment. Instead, they were built to adapt to almost anything. They could survive extreme heat and extreme cold. They could eat plants and animals, and even some things that would poison other species. Their immune systems were like tiny armies, constantly learning and fighting against new threats. This is remarkable, Velox announced to the gathered scientists. Human biology operates on a completely different principle than any other species we have studied. Most life forms evolve to avoid danger. They develop speed to run away, or shells to hide inside, or camouflage to stay unseen. Humans evolved to survive danger directly. They did not run from predators. They hunted them. They did not avoid poison. They developed resistance to it. Emily yawned. She had been sitting still for a long time. Can I take a break? Max probably needs to go outside. Outside? A scientist asked nervously. You mean let the Shadowhound roam free? He needs exercise, Emily explained. If he stays cooped up too long, he gets restless. That is when accidents happen. Velox quickly authorized a break. The observation deck had a secure area where Max could move around. Several security officers insisted on accompanying them, but they kept a very safe distance. While Emily played with her deadly pet, Velox continued his research. He connected to the Union database and searched for information about Earth. What he found made his skin turn dark blue with shock. The planet was classified as a Class 3 habitable world. That meant it was considered safe and mild, suitable for most life forms to visit. Velox realized this classification was completely wrong. He found records of Earth's wildlife. Predators called lions that hunted in groups. Massive creatures called elephants that could crush anything in their path. Aquatic monsters called sharks that smelled blood from great distances. Tiny insects that carried deadly diseases. Plants that produced lethal toxins. Even the water contained creatures that could kill, and humans had dominated this world. They had spread to every corner of it. They had tamed or destroyed anything that threatened them. Look at this, Velox said to Tala. Their planet's gravity is higher than average. Their sun produces harmful radiation. Their weather patterns include violent storms, floods, and droughts. Temperature extremes range from frozen wastelands to boiling deserts. Tala studied the information. Her 4 eyes went wide. This is not a Class 3 world. This is a death world. Why was it classified so low? Because humans made it look safe, Velox realized. They survived all of these dangers so easily that when our survey teams arrived, they saw humans living comfortably. They assumed the planet must be mild. Through the observation window, Velox watched Emily throw a ball for Max. The Shadowhound bounded after it happily, his 6 eyes bright with joy. The deadly predator brought the ball back and dropped it at Emily's feet, waiting for her to throw it again. David had found a snack machine and was eating something orange and crunchy. He offered some to a nearby Grellian officer. The officer sniffed it cautiously. What is this? The officer asked. Cheese puffs, David said. They are not real food, mostly chemicals and air. But they taste good. The officer took one and put it in his mouth. His eyes went wide. This is incredibly salty. How do your bodies handle so much sodium? David shrugged. We sweat a lot, so we need extra salt. Velox added this to his notes. Humans intentionally ate things that would harm other species because their bodies had adapted to process them. They consumed toxins for fun. They called it seasoning. As the day ended, Velox began writing his preliminary report. He knew it would cause a huge reaction across the Union. Everything the galaxy believed about humans was wrong. They were not soft. They were flexible. They were not slow. They were persistent. They were not harmless. They were the most adaptable survivors the galaxy had ever seen, and they kept monsters as pets. 1 month after leaving Harmony's Rest, the crew of the Amber Dawn noticed something strange. Everywhere they went, aliens stared at them, not with the usual mild curiosity that humans received. This was different. This was fear mixed with respect. Captain Rachel first noticed it at a trading post near the Nexion asteroid belt. She was buying fuel supplies when the merchant, a 4-armed being covered in scales, refused to take her money. No charge, the merchant said quickly. For humans, supplies are free. Rachel frowned. That does not seem like good business. Having humans as customers is good for reputation, the merchant explained. "Everyone will know that the Death World walkers shop at my store. That is worth more than your credits." Rachel did not understand at first. Then she saw the other customers in the store. They were all watching her with wide eyes. Some whispered to each other. A few took pictures with their devices. When she returned to the ship, she told David and Emily what had happened. Emily laughed, but David looked thoughtful. "I have been reading the news feeds," David said. "Dr. Velox published his research about us. It has been shared millions of times across the Union network." He pulled up the article on his tablet. The title read, "Humans, Death World Survivors and Universal Adapters." The article described in detail how human bodies could survive things that would kill any other species. It talked about Emily and Max. It mentioned the Shadowhound bites. It even included pictures of Emily's scar. "We are famous," Emily said, scratching Max behind his ears. "Or maybe infamous." The fame only grew over the following weeks. The Amber Dawn received dozens of messages every day. Mining colonies wanted to hire human guards. Frontier stations requested human security teams. Research vessels asked if humans would join expeditions to dangerous planets. A message from the Kovathi Empire arrived. The Kovathi were the warrior species that originally bred shadowhounds. They had heard about Max and wanted to meet the humans who had tamed one. Their message was formal, but clearly impressed. The Kovathi do not impress easily, Rachel told her crew. They consider themselves the greatest hunters in the galaxy. If they are interested in us, that says something. Emily did not care about fame or reputation. She just wanted to continue her simple life on the ship, taking care of Max and doing her job. But the galaxy had other plans. The pirate attack happened 3 weeks later. The Amber Dawn was carrying medical supplies through a remote sector. It was supposed to be a safe route, but a Valkyrie raiding ship appeared out of nowhere, blocking their path. Valkyrie were nasty creatures. They had gray skin, sharp teeth, and no respect for law. They made their living by stealing from weaker ships. The pirate captain sent a message. His ugly face appeared on the screen. "Human vessel, surrender your cargo and valuables. Resist, and we will board your ship and take everything by force, including your lives." Captain Rachel kept her face calm. "We are a medical supply ship. We carry no valuables. Let us pass. Medical supplies sell well on the black market," the captain laughed. "Prepare to be boarded." Before Rachel could respond, the pirates cut off communication. Moments later, the Amber Dawn shook as the enemy ship attached to their hull. The sound of cutting tools echoed through the corridor. The pirates were breaking in. Rachel grabbed a weapon from the emergency locker. David did the same. They both looked at Emily. Emily was not afraid. She had dealt with pirates before, and now she had something the pirates did not expect. "Max," she said calmly. "Guard." The Shadowhound's playful attitude vanished instantly. His fur seemed to grow darker. His 6 eyes began to glow bright red. A low growl rumbled in his chest. He moved to stand in front of Emily, every muscle ready for violence. The airlock door exploded inward. 12 Valkyrie raiders rushed into the cargo bay. They wore light armor and carried blaster rifles. Their leader pointed at the 3 humans. "Drop your weapons," he shouted. "On your knees now." Then he saw Max. The pirate leader froze. His gray skin turned pale. Is that a Shadowhound?" Emily smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Yes, his name is Max, and he has not had dinner yet." "Kill her," the leader screamed. "Kill her now." 2 pirates raised their weapons. They never got the chance to fire. Max moved like living darkness. One moment, he was standing still. The next moment, he was on top of the first pirate, jaws clamped around the alien's arm. The pirate screamed and fell. His body began to shake as the neurotoxin entered his blood. The second pirate tried to run. Max caught him before he took 3 steps. Another bite. Another victim paralyzed on the floor. Panic spread through the raiding party. Pirates shoved each other trying to get back to the airlock. Max chased them, moving faster than anything his size should move. Every time his teeth touched flesh, another enemy fell. Emily watched calmly. David and Rachel did not even raise their weapons. In less than 2 minutes, 6 pirates lay paralyzed on the cargo bay floor. The other 6 had fled back to their ship. Max returned to Emily's side, his tail wagging happily. He looked up at her, waiting for praise. "Good boy," Emily said, rubbing his head. "Very good boy." The pirate ship detached and fled so fast it nearly hit an asteroid. The Volcari captain did not even try to retrieve his fallen crew members. Rachel looked at the paralyzed pirates. They were still alive, just unable to move. The venom would wear off in a few hours, leaving them sick but breathing. "What should we do with them?" David asked. "Contact the nearest patrol station," Rachel decided. "Let them deal with these criminals." Word of the failed pirate attack spread quickly. The story grew bigger with each retelling. Some versions claimed Max had killed 50 raiders. Others said the humans had laughed while the Shadowhound hunted. A few wild stories suggested that humans could control Shadowhounds with their minds. The truth was impressive enough. A single human woman and her pet had defeated an entire pirate crew. They had done it without firing a shot. The message was clear to everyone in the galaxy. Do not attack. Human ships. Pirates stop targeting vessels with human crews. Smugglers gave human transports a wide berth. Even legitimate traders became more polite when dealing with humans. Emily did not like being famous. She just wanted to live quietly with her friends and her dog. But she accepted that things had changed. The galaxy saw humans differently now. They were not prey. They were predators who had learned to make friends with other predators. And no one wanted to find out what happened when you made them angry. 3 months had passed since Dr. Velox first met the humans of the Amber Dawn. In that time, his life had changed completely. He was no longer just a veterinary specialist on a small space station. He had become the galaxy's leading expert on human biology. His research was studied in universities across 100 worlds. His name was known everywhere, but Velox did not care about fame. He cared about understanding. And the more he learned about humans, the more he realized how little the galaxy truly knew. His final report was published in the Union Medical Journal. It was titled, "Humans, Persistence Predators, and Universal Adapters." The document was 200 pages long, filled with data, observations, and conclusions that would change how every species viewed humanity. Velox sat in his office, reading through the finished report one last time. Outside his window, ships came and went from the station. Somewhere on one of those ships, Emily and Max were traveling to their next destination. He hoped they were doing well. The key findings of his report were simple, but shocking. Humans had evolved on a world that tried to kill them constantly. Their planet, Earth, was not the peaceful garden world the Union had believed. It was a place of extreme danger. Predators hunted in every environment. Diseases spread through the air and water. The weather itself could be deadly. Natural disasters struck without warning. Any other species would have gone extinct long ago. Humans did not. They survived through adaptation. Their bodies healed from injuries that would permanently disable other beings. Broken bones grew back together. Torn skin repaired itself. Even damaged organs could sometimes recover. This healing ability made humans incredibly difficult to kill. Their immune systems were unlike anything else in the galaxy. They did not just fight diseases. They learned from them. Every sickness a human survived made them stronger against similar threats in the future. This was why, Emily could survive shadowhound venom. Her body treated it like any other poison and figured out how to beat it. Most importantly, humans had a mental toughness that seemed almost impossible. They could endure pain that would cause other species to give up. They kept fighting when logic said they should stop. They refused to accept death, even when it seemed certain. Velox called this persistence. It was the human superpower. The report also discussed human social behavior. They formed tight bonds with their crew, their families, and yes, even their pets. These bonds gave them strength. A human fighting alone was dangerous. A human fighting to protect someone they loved was unstoppable. The section about human pets was particularly fascinating. Across the galaxy, species kept small, harmless animals as companions. Humans kept predators. Dogs were descended from wolves. Cats were tiny killing machines. Some humans even kept venomous snakes or spiders in their homes for fun. The Shadowhound, Max, was just an extreme example of normal human behavior. They did not fear dangerous creatures. They befriended them. Velox's recommendations at the end of the report caused the biggest reaction. Earth should be immediately reclassified from a Class 3 habitable world to a Class 12 death world, he wrote. Visitors should be warned about the extreme dangers present on the planet's surface. More importantly, the Galactic Union should reconsider its relationship with humanity. Humans are not the harmless newcomers we believe them to be. They are survivors of one of the most dangerous environments in the known galaxy. Their soft appearance and friendly attitude hide a species forged in constant conflict with death itself. I do not recommend treating humans as a threat. They are, in my observation, a remarkably kind and cooperative species when approached with respect. However, I strongly advise against ever making them an enemy. The same traits that allow them to befriend shadowhounds would make them terrifying opponents in any conflict. The report ended with a quote from Emily. Velox had asked her why she chose to keep Max despite the danger. Her answer had stayed with him ever since. He is a good boy, she had said. He just gets excited sometimes. Every creature deserves a chance to be loved, even the scary ones. Maybe especially the scary ones. Velox closed the document and sent it for final publication. It would be read by billions of beings across the Union. It would change how humans were perceived forever. He hoped that change would be for the better. Meanwhile, on the Amber Dawn, life continued as normal. On the Amber Dawn, life continued as normal. Captain Rachel was negotiating a new shipping contract. David was in the galley, teaching 2 Grellian exchange officers how to eat something called hot sauce. One of them was crying. The other kept asking for more. Emily sat on the observation deck, watching stars drift past the window. Max was curled up at her feet, snoring softly. His 6 eyes were closed, his deadly fangs hidden behind relaxed lips. In sleep, he looked almost cute. A news alert appeared on Emily's tablet. She glanced at it and smiled. Dr. Velox's report was making headlines everywhere. Humans revealed as Death World species. The headline read, Galaxy reacts with shock. Did you hear that, Max? She said softly. We are scary now. Max opened one eye, looked at her, and went back to sleep. He did not care about galactic politics. He had his human, his warm bed, and regular meals. That was enough. Emily reached down and scratched behind his ears. The deadliest predator in the sector made a happy sound and pressed closer to her hand. Somewhere far away, pirates changed their course to avoid human ships. Diplomats revised their strategies for dealing with Earth. Scientists began new studies on human biology. The galaxy adjusted its understanding of the strange, soft beings from the small blue planet. Humanity had arrived among the stars. They brought their courage, their adaptability, and their stubborn refusal to die. They also brought their pets, and the galaxy would never be the same.